Hi, I'm Don Schaefer, and I want to welcome you once again. This here is session 5 of the Project Manager Workshop. And we've been working on a lot of different points, a lot of different ideas and thoughts, and trying to develop an area and an understanding of just how to achieve the areas in life that we're going after. In session 1, we talked about success. We talked about choosing what you want. And we talked about an understanding of success, and I often want to mention that, and the fact that success itself is not enough. And a lot of times people feel that if they can become successful, that's all they need. You have to be fulfilled in life. You know, fulfillment is a little bit more than just success. Fulfillment includes being and doing something in your life that fulfills you as a person. And normally fulfillment deals with helping other people in some way or some fashion. And that's where we talk about developing goals. We talked about the fact of reaching a decision, developing compelling goals, and being able to try to achieve things in life. And a lot of times people in life have great, wonderful wishes, wonderful dreams, but that's all they are. You know, until they become scheduled, until you can take your dream and schedule a completion date, it isn't a goal. It's only a dream. It'll never be achieved in your life. And that's where you need to set goals, solid goals that you go after. And a lot of this, too, I just wanted to mention is the fact that it deals so much. You know, we've been through now, you know, going into lesson 5 of this tonight, and, you know, we've talked about a lot of different areas, but it deals so much with our emotions and how the areas that we want. You know, because a lot of times what happens is we have to get ourselves to the point where we are disgusted where we're at. You know, and people a lot of times get wishy-washy and whatever, and they really aren't disturbed enough to do something with their life. And the beauty of what I think God has intended for all of us in life is He wants to bring us to a place where we're disturbed with what is happening and we want to change. And it's only at that point that we really try to do things. It's that emotion that gets us going. And a lot of times people say, well, you know, it's a neat idea. And, you know, I don't want people to get me wrong, but, you know, the project manager is something that can be used as a tool for any person for whatever they want in life. But it's only the individual that really wants to achieve the potential in their life that it's got to be disturbed in some way or some fashion of what is happening. You know, it has to develop that emotion within them saying, you know what, no matter what, I am going to do this. I'm going to see this through and I'm going to make this happen in my life. I'm going to set up the structure I need for something to happen in my life. And that's where my hat's off to many of you is because you've been doing this. You know, you've been taking this to heart and really trying to achieve and really get your arms around areas that you're trying to see in your life. And then we talked a little bit about stop wasting time. We talked about time management. We talked about the fact that you can't manage your time. You've got problems and issues. We talked about vital time, how important it is to be able to grab some vital time in a day and try to use this. And how, you know, everybody has the same amount of time. It's how we choose to use that. And a lot of times people just don't choose to use their time wisely. You know, and that's where I know myself. I'm working on this. And I know you all are too. You're working on this. I myself have to watch it, you know, because I can't spend a huge amount of time watching The Voice or whatever these programs are on TV that people get into, you know. And it was American Idol. I remember one class that was American Idol. You know, people get themselves into some of this stuff, and it's just large blocks of time. Or even nowadays, they've got something called Netflix addiction. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but these series that they got out, you know, they've got 60 shows, episodes, or whatever they are, and people get plugged into this thing, and sometimes there's hour after hour after hour after hour is going from one episode to another episode. You know, this is all vital time. Sometimes it's slipping away from your life. And that's where to achieve this stuff, we have to get ourselves into a place where we're disturbed enough, where we have the emotions enough to say, hey, you know what? I am going to discipline my life and I'm going to achieve what I want to. And last week we talked about directing your thoughts in your life. Okay, building beliefs that make success inevitable. Okay, how we have self-talk, the way we talk to ourselves, you know, and how we can develop our lives and get ourselves in a position. We talk ourselves out of things. We talk doubt into our lives. We have to get ourselves to where we have affirmations and stuff that's saying that we can do things. Because I believe it's all possible. And I know in my life, I myself have to be able to speak things. That's where we always encourage people that if you're going after something, if you have a goal, something that you're wanting to achieve in life, you need to speak about these things. You need to talk about this to yourself, to the people that you see, in a positive way. Because we do live in a negative society. We live in a negative world that is constantly taking people down. And a lot of times the circles and stuff that we get ourselves around, there's nothing really positive. I know we've said in the past that if you really do want to find some change, there's two ways of doing it. One way is the people you associate with. If you really want change, the people you associate with will keep you exactly where you are at. If you want to find success, you find successful people and you associate with these individuals and you pick up their characteristics and their ways of seeing things and doing things. And the other way is to read. To be able to read and study and learn the thought process within people. See, because our thoughts are so powerful, because they control our life. Our whole destiny, as far as what we become, the ability to change is all within our thought process. And it's so embedded, it's so ingrained, because we've been going through this for years. As a child, the arena that you're raised in, all this stuff creates a thought process. And when we get this type of thought process, we tend to communicate to ourselves in this way. And that's where I know myself when I was young. My mother used to say certain things to me. And it was a thought process she put inside me. So if there was doubt in that, if there was any negative in that, well, as I grew older, that's the way I thought. That's the way I seen everything. A lot of times, people get in a position where they, as parents, they'll say, people with a lot of money, they act funny. Or they're snobs, or they're whatever it might be. So you grow up and you say to yourself, I don't want a whole lot of money. So you put yourself in a position where you don't have a whole lot of money. Why is it? But it's not true. I found out that people a lot of times that have a lot of money, they follow the right principles, but they're not snobs at all. They actually want to help people to learn their principles and be able to develop that. But you get yourself stuck in a thought process. So the areas that we're trying to achieve as far as goals are concerned, it's very important that we speak to ourselves in a good way and not try to destroy the areas that we're going in. And I'm going to show this to the class here after class, but today I had a unique moment. I was at home, and we've been doing some packing up, and Shirley's got this goal as far as putting pictures together and stuff like that, and putting albums together. Well, I grabbed a hold of some pictures, and they're old. These were old pictures, and I pulled them out, and I was sitting there, and I'll back that up a little bit. Yesterday, I was painting. I was doing some painting, and while I was painting, you do a lot of thinking, because painting isn't a thinking job. You know what I mean? So you can paint and think of a lot of other things. And so I was doing some painting, and while I was doing that, I was thinking about my daughter, and I remember my daughter years ago. This is back in the 70s, and we had this garage, and we had this pole. We had this pole inside the garage, and I remember her dancing around this thing, out in this garage. She was just a little tight of a little girl and stuff. And today, I was out in what I call my studio, and in there we have some of our pictures and stuff set up. And I grabbed a packet of pictures, and I opened it, and here, back in the 1970s, see, I was already setting goals for myself. And the goal I had was to paint my car. I had a 1972 Cutlass, two-door, 350 with a 3-speed. It was a nice, sharp, bucket seat, fancy type car. And I took pictures before on my driveway, and then I took pictures as I was going through. I took it all apart. Took the fenders off. The whole front end of the car was off. I gutted the whole inside the car. I got pictures of that, which I'll show you some of you later that are here. And but there, in one of the pictures, after I had the car painted, was my daughter and my son standing by this pole. The pole that I was thinking about the day before, her dancing around. So I'm sitting there, boy, isn't that unique? How you think of something and then the next day it just falls into your hands. So I decided to bring it. But the neat thing about it is a prime example of the 1970s of taking a goal of a car and tearing it all apart and painting it. I had the rims. The pictures show the rims. I painted the rims, took all the doors off. I painted all the door jambs and everything on this car, and I stepped it through, and at the end I got pictures of the final product that it was done. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, because I think at an early age I was raised in a family where my dad and stuff, he had projects, he had goals that he set up, and he went out and he did these things. He was just telling me tonight that he had at one time a mortgage on 2 homes for a year and a half. because he had a dream of living on the river. So he had a house out in Darbo, and he bought a house on the river. So for a year and a half, he had 2 mortgages that he was paying. But he had different dreams, different goals. And that's the stuff, you get yourself in the right arena, you start to think in certain ways, and you start to believe you can do things. And that's what we're hoping to do here, is create an arena for each and every one of you to achieve areas in life. That's where tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about creating a positive picture. Positive results follow positive mental pictures. Okay, we got a scripture here in Revelations 1:1. It says, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. Okay, I pulled this scripture out because I believe everything is a revelation. You know, and as far as our potential, the directions we go into, how we achieve different areas in our life, it's a revelation. You know, it's getting yourself in the right area where it can be revealed to you. And that's where I've said from the very beginning, I don't have the answers for your life, which I don't. I talk about different areas, but the answer's inside of each and every one of you. It's a matter of it being revealed to you so that you can see the answer. You know, and that's where we've been created that way, you know, with all the answers within us. And the quote I wrote down here says, I visualized where I wanted to be and what kind of player I wanted to become. I knew exactly where I wanted to go, and I focused on getting there. By Michael Jordan. You know, and he as a player always amazed me of the things he could do, especially in the fourth quarter. And I know some of you are probably way too young for this, but I remember Michael Jordan in my day, where in the fourth quarter, with about 2 minutes to play, the rest of the team just stepped to the side of the court, and they gave Michael Jordan the ball. Because one-on-one, he was almost unstoppable. But listening to Michael Jordan talk about the game, they would ask him, how did you ever manage to do this type of shot and whatever you did out in that game? He said, before I played the game, I visualized what I would do in situations. And he sat down before he played the game, and he visualized ahead of time how he would respond in whatever situation was in front. He said, when I'm in the game, I don't have to think. I just have to follow through with the vision I already had inside me. See, and that's where tonight we're going to be talking about creating a positive picture. We're going to be talking about a vision that we need to create, because these are all tools. Last week we talked about self-talk. A vision is like a twin sister. You know, being able to see it is another area, because you're using the areas within you to achieve what God has intended for you. So we'll get into some of these points here. Well, I tell you what, read some of these paragraphs here. It says, one of the most powerful programming tools for your mind is to be able to picture in your mind's eye the results before they happen. As we live life, we continuously create mental pictures of how we see life, and it is these pictures that help us to make the decisions and directions on which we go. The issue here is that we can create self-defeating images due to circumstances that have happened to us, and that will cause negative results in the things we do. So basically, all parts of our life are because of the picture that we have to put in our mind. It's the way we see it. It's the way we see it. It's the way we live life. Until we can change that picture, we're going to continue to do things exactly the same way. Okay, next paragraph, it says, the thing to remember here is that the creating of a positive pictures in your mind can be a skill just like anything else. And it can be the key to your future success. It is a skill that can be practiced and mastered. What we will be doing here is developing a habit of creating positive pictures in our mind, replacing any negative pictures with new pictures. So it's important, because everything we do becomes a habit if we can do it long enough. And that's if we can consciously realize the importance of seeing things in a positive way. We can change the way the images flow within our minds. Okay, going on here, it says many times people have a fearful way about them, and because of this, they are always seeing things in their lives in a negative way. In the Bible, it says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but that of love and power and of a sound mind. A sound mind is one that sees the future in a positive way and lives life accordingly. When I hear of people battling with depression, it tells me where their mind is at and the picture that they are creating for themselves. Yeah, we were designed to be fearful. We're designed to have a sound mind. Sound mind sees things in a positive way. Okay, next paragraph says your subconscious mind is responsible for your long-term success. Failure and mediocrity are like fertile soil. It will accommodate any seed that is planted in it. The images that we concentrate on get absorbed into our subconscious mind like a sponge. I know a garage overhead man who, when I asked him why he does what he was doing and if he was happy with it, said to me, when I was young, I raced snowmobiles. I had a sponsor that owned an overhead door company. In the summers, I would work for the man to help pay for school and for the sponsorship of snowmobile racing. When I got out of school with a degree, I started a job in manufacturing world, but ended it because I wasn't happy with it. So I went back to the overhead door employer and have worked with overhead doors ever since. What happened here, right or wrong, is that he created a mental picture of what he saw himself doing. And in his subconscious mind, it was the only thing that would ever make him happy. The only thing that would end this for him is to get a new mental picture to replace the one he has of working. I am not wishing him to do this, but I am using this as an example to show you what the possibilities are for yourself based on the mental pictures that your subconscious mind is absorbing. See, that's where when we're young, the pictures we have a lot of times are what we become, what we see. And that's where we live in a world right now with all kinds of pictures. And young people, I know myself. I don't know about you guys. Anybody else get a picture when you were young of doing something and this is what you wanted to be and stuff? You see this or you see somebody doing it. I know, what was his name? Norman Rockwell. That's right, that's the artist. Man, I tell you what, that guy was quite a painter. And I seen pictures, when I was young, I wanted to be an artist. I seen this guy and I wanted to do this stuff. But it was an image that I placed in my mind. This overhead door man, he worked on overhead doors and probably knew great guys or whatever in overhead doors. One time I took my kids and I went to an undercoating business, where they're undercoating vehicles and stuff like that. And I took them there. I says, you know what? I told them, I said, you got to be very careful what you do in life, because what happens sometimes you get stuck because it becomes your picture. It becomes your picture. My daughter, nothing wrong with this place. This is a beautiful place. I eat there all the time. Tom's Drive-In. My daughter worked at Tom's Drive-In. And I'd say to her, you got to be careful because a lot of people will stay at Tom's Drive-In, because that's their picture. That's what they see themselves doing, flipping burgers or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden 30 years go by and here they are. And it could be great. It could be great. But, there's a lot more to life. You have to be able to expand your pictures in what you see. And that's where some people don't do that and get stuck in an area. Okay, moving on here. The subconscious mind that you have is incapable of distinguishing between an actual event and one that is imagined. Therefore, it is possible to repeatedly view a mental picture as though it has already happened, which will allow your subconscious mind to respond to it. Once your mind sees things as happening, it will automatically adjust your whole life to allow this to happen. Your thoughts, actions, emotion, and behavior will be lined up to make your mental picture reality. So that's what you're doing with your goals right now. See, you're picturing this as it is already happened in your life. And what you do is you create a picture in your subconscious mind that this really did happen. I know myself sometimes. Whether it be a dream or a thought that enters my mind, sometimes I have to stop. Now, did this really happen? Because in my mind, I feel like it really did happen. But did it really happen? And that's where you can fool the subconscious mind by the thoughts and pictures that you put in front of you, so that subconsciously you feel like you've already achieved this. And that's where these people walk in confidence, without fear, because they know they can do this. In their mind, they've allowed themselves to reach that level. And moving on, it says, and now if you want to take this one step further, you can actually make a physical picture that your eyes can see. As you set goals for yourself, you can create a mental as well as physical picture of what you are seeking for in life. I have done this for years, creating mental pictures as well as placing physical pictures of what I wanted in life before me, and it never ceases to amaze me how much our lives can be directed by just using this as a tool for accomplishment. What happens with a physical picture is that it helps you clarify the goal that you are seeking. What makes the possibility of achievement take a life of its own. It will give you a clear focus of what you are after and will help you keep on track. So many times, without creating a clear, positive physical picture, we find ourselves drifting, becoming double-minded and not certain of what we want or where we are going. Let's not let another day go by without creating a positive mental picture to guide you in the wonderful life that is before you. So we're going to be talking about creating this mental picture and what it can do in your life. And the few points I have here, number one is positive visualization is mentally picturing events or outcomes in your mind's eye before they occur in the physical reality. This is a subconscious program more powerful than self-talk. There is a collection of mental pictures that occupy your mind. See, and that's where every one of us in life has a series of mental pictures that occupy our minds. We see things in certain ways. It's just the way we see it. And that's where it's interesting in life. A lot of times they say, if you want to change somebody's way of seeing things, you have to give them a word picture, that will touch them in a way that all of a sudden they say, oh, now I see it differently. Because a lot of times that picture becomes so ingrained. And that's where I know the Bible says, without a vision, the people perish. See, I say, with a vision, the people flourish. Because with a vision, you can flourish in the things that you're doing, if it's the proper vision of what you want to achieve. Depending on what your goals are, the areas in your life, you need to visualize and actually see these things. You have to be able to say, you know what, I can see it. I know you go to Tom's Drive and it says, what does it say? Do you get it? I can't. Do you get it? You get it. Yeah, it says you get it. And I always go in there and it says, I think I got it, but I'm not sure. But it is a mental picture that we have to have. We have to be able to see it. And that's where a lot of times sitting down with a group of people, if you want them to do. Fact is, Walt Disney, in the beginning stages, he had an idea and he put it together. He, with that idea and a mouse, created Disney World. But, he had an idea of a theme park where people could come to and have a good time, families and all that stuff. What he did, and I think it was Disneyland, I think it was on the West Coast, he went and got a bunch of contractors together and he built a castle. He had a huge parcel of land. He built a castle right in the middle of that land, and that's all he built. He built just one castle in the middle of that land. And then he got the bankers, he got all the people that would be involved in what he needed to do and brought them there. And he had a big old gathering, and then he laid out a picture of exactly where he was going from that point on. This was the castle, and they could see that. Then he showed all the roadways, all the different rides, events, and all the stuff that he wanted to put into Disneyland. And the people got the picture. And with the picture, they got excited. They got excited, and everybody wanted to work on this because they could see the castle, and the castle was fantastic. And then they could see the rest of the plans he had, but he had to spend time creating a picture inside of each one of them, and that's what he did. He created a picture, and they put together Disneyland, and that's what we have today. So it's interesting how people do this. This is in the big fashion, but it works the same way in our lives if we can create the right picture. Okay, number two, it says visualization is a skill that can be learned and mastered. Everyone has the ability to visualize. It has been said that the pictures that you create in your head turn into reality you hold in your hands. The key to this session is to show you the importance of changing random visualization to deliberate, proactive visualization. See, and that's where, it's a skill that you develop. Our society, which we talked a little bit before, I think we talked last week about advertising and stuff. Advertising is all about visualization because they throw you a picture. And you see it enough, all of a sudden you get their picture of what, and that's where I can easily get you visualizing things. If I was to say an apple, automatically in your mind you picture apple, blue Volkswagen. How many people can visualize a blue Volkswagen? It's in your mind. See, there's visions that are created in your mind. And that's where your mind is constantly taking pictures and visualizing things in a different way. And that's where the mind can be used in a positive way to develop and see your goal through. See the product that you're trying to do. See yourself doing what you want to do. I know one night we sat here and we talked about this. When does an artist become an artist? Is it after 4 years of schooling? Or is it after 8 years of schooling? Or is it the very night that the person says, you know what? I'm an artist and I see myself as an artist. When do you become what? Myself, I believe it's when you have the vision of it, and when you can confess it, the fact that you are it, that you become that. And actually it becomes a goal. At the end of 4 years, I'm going to graduate, but I already see myself as an artist. I already see myself doing this stuff. Might be landscape artist. I see myself at Yellowstone, painting some big scene or whatever it might be. I see myself already doing this. I got a vision going on in my mind. All of a sudden I put a date to it. It's a goal. All of a sudden I've scheduled it in my life. And that's all goals are. You're scheduling something in your life to happen. It isn't something I just have on a piece of paper anymore. I've got a schedule. I got a schedule to acquire this. And I've got a vision. I can see myself doing that. Am I this? Am I this? Okay, next point we had, your number 3. Your subconscious mind is responding for your long-term success, failure, or mediocrity. Your subconscious mind is responsible for your long-term success, failure, or mediocrity. It is responsible for all of the thinking, feeling, speaking, and acting. The good news is that you have control of it, and it can be programmed. It will accommodate whatever seed you choose to plant. The picture that you give it, what it will be like, you produce good or bad, it doesn't matter. See, your subconscious mind, as we said earlier, produces exactly whatever you want it to. And whatever it sees the picture, that's the picture it tries to produce in your life. That's where you see individuals that you want to be like. Okay, you put this in your mind. You get a picture of yourself doing exactly the same thing, acting exactly the same way. All of a sudden your subconscious mind is working on you. It's changing your thought process, it's changing your behavior, changing all kinds of things in your life to become that individual. That's where it's so important sometimes to plug into good, positive, successful individuals. Because successful individuals have good, positive pictures going on inside their mind. They see things totally differently than mediocre or unsuccessful people do. They have a totally different picture. One person sees this as bad, the other person sees it as good. Successful individuals see failure in a different way. Failure isn't failure as it is to someone who's always failing and downtrodden in life. Failure in a successful individual's life is just a tool they use to learn how to do things in a better way. They don't see it as failure in because usually a lot of people in life, what happens when something doesn't go right, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, Betty, but when things don't go right, they say, I've failed. I'm not going to do that no more. I'm going to stay away from that because I can't do that. See, successful individuals will have a different picture of that. This didn't work. Now what do I do? How do I change this so it will work? Totally different picture. And that's where you constantly, if I can't achieve my goal, maybe my picture is wrong. If I'm not doing what I need to do, let's say yesterday was my day for this and that, I didn't do it. Okay, what happened here? Well, successful individuals don't picture that as being a bad situation. They picture that as an opportunity. What do I need to change today to make sure that I do what I should have done yesterday? How do I change that? Because I myself see myself as successful. I see myself doing this and being successful in it. I have a totally different picture. That's where it is hard sometimes to take down an individual with good, positive pictures. You can say all kinds of negative things to them. You can do whatever you want to them. They still are positive and believing in themselves because they have a totally different picture. I was around a guy one time that was totally ridiculed, totally cut down, and totally told that he's useless and that he needed to whatever. And the individual went and reached out his hand and shook hands with the guy. He said, thank you, because I do believe in self-improvement, and you're helping me. You're helping me. So how do you win with a circumstance like that? You don't, because the man has got a good, positive picture. He's not going to let anybody ruin his picture. That's where when you're raising children sometimes, you help create a picture. You tell them all the possibilities in life and what you see in them. You don't bring into the negative. You don't bring the negative. You don't bring in, you'll never do this and you'll never do that and you never do this. You don't say stuff like that. I see this in you and you're great. And, you have a tremendous attitude. The whole world is out there for you. You can go on to school, you can get educated, you can find yourself a good job, good relationships. You are a loving individual. You are a caring individual. You're very giving in the things you do. All these things. It's picture after picture after picture that you're helping the child to establish within their minds. So inside their mind, their subconscious mind, this is who they become. And that's where successful kids are usually come from successful people. Because they speak successful things into them. People who have a hard time in life struggle because they're in an arena of people who speak negative pictures into their life. They tell them how useless they are. You'll never be anything. You're born on this side of the tracks or whatever. You get up on the wrong side of the bed all the time. All these types of things. And so in their mind, they're picturing themselves as failing. I know myself. When I was younger, I didn't have a very good positive image or picture of myself achieving things. I had to get over this, and that's where I've had a lot of help. I've had a lot of help with different people, and the Lord has given me great blessings in this. Plus, I've read a lot in people, of different people that wrote about different things, about the possibilities of success. One of the instrumental individuals in my life was Zig Ziglar. I remember back in the early 80s getting into Zig Ziglar and his way of seeing life. And I remember the book called See You at the Top. And I realized that there are steps to achieving this, but everything is positive, positive, positive. Because once you get into the negative, the steps go down. The steps go down, they don't go up. But we'll move on here. Number 4 says, it is the images that are dwelled upon consciously and repeatedly that get absorbed like a sponge into the mental software of our subconscious mind. Successful men and women train themselves to think about what they want in life. They think and picture the type of person they want to be. They think about the virtues and principles that they admire the most. The unsuccessful or mediocre lack mental discipline. See, that's where successful people, it's good to meditate. A lot of times people talk about in prayer, being in a place of meditation and thinking on things. It's good to sit back sometimes and relax and just think. Because what you do is you run the pictures through your mind. You see things. You allow good, positive situations to happen within your mind. Successful individuals will take time for themselves. We always talk about the hour of power. Being able to take an hour or a period of time, a lot of times is best in the morning because it sets the tone for your whole day. But it is a time where you allow your mind to start seeing things the way it needs to be seen. And when you can run good, positive pictures across, and get into the point like we talked last time about self-talk, speaking, keeping a positive communication going within your mind. What happens, it changes your whole outlook in life. It is hard to have a bad day. It's hard to have a bad day when you painted a good picture. When you paint a good picture and stuff, your whole life seems to be directed that way because your subconscious is directing you in a good, positive way. Okay, number 5, it says here, your subconscious mind is incapable of distinguishing between actual events and ones that are only imagined. Okay, incapable of distinguishing between actual events and ones that are only imagined. Okay, God has given the ability to our subconscious minds to see goals as though they are already done. Once your mind conceives an idea as true and believable, it automatically adjusts our thoughts, emotion, words, and behavior to be constant with our vision. Our job is to convince our subconscious mind through visualization that the goal we are after already exists. Yeah. Okay. It is amazing sometimes because when you can get yourself in a position where you can believe it's true that I can achieve this, I'm going to do this, I can affirm myself saying, this is what I am, this is what I'm doing. Actually, what I do in my life, and I'll share that with you, is I put down statements of what I want to be. And every day these statements are in my journal of what I want to be, who I see myself, how I see myself. These statements run by me every morning. I got my goals, I've got my affirmation statements in front of what I want to be because I don't want to lose focus. And I want to create the picture. I want to keep that picture clear every day. I can see it because this is it. This is it. I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to be going in different areas. And it's amazing how when you sit there and you put images over and over into your mind, how they become a part of you. See, this week, as I mentioned earlier, I've been painting, and I've been rolling paint, and I've been brushing, I'm doing all this sort of thing. So what I see this week is paint, because it's the vision that's in front of me. I'm sitting there, I go to bed at night and close my eyes, I can see paint, because that's what's in front of me, It's just the way it is. When I go places right now, I look at paint jobs and stuff and how they are, because that's the vision that I put in front of me, And that's where in life, whatever you do, you're constantly putting a physical vision in front of you. But The same tool that does that and ingrains that in you can be used to take a mental picture of what you want to become, of the goals that you're trying to achieve, and paint those pictures so that in your mind you're constantly seeing this. Because this has been ingrained inside me. I see myself doing this. This is part of me, man. And all of a sudden your whole life tends to make a change. It starts to become just that, because this is who I am. This is just who I am. This is what I'm seeing all the time. I've ingrained all this within me. That's where it's how you paint that picture. You paint it in a positive way, positive things. Paint it in a negative way, negative things. It's just the way it is. That's where, I don't know the names, but I know I read about a story of an individual that was in the concentration camps, had children in there. In fact, there's a story goes that the guy's wife wasn't even Jewish, but she went and hopped on a train anyway to be with her family. And they hauled him away. All kinds of bad things happening. But the dad made a game out of it. What he did is he taught the kids, he painted a different picture for his kids. He didn't make it, they're doing this, and this is terrible, and all that sort of thing. He made a game out of it. He made it in a positive way so his kids would get a different picture. So he didn't make it, maybe he made it like Disneyland, I don't know, but he made a picture out of it because he didn't want to hurt the kids. Because he realized that if they made it through all this, this could be a very destructive part in his children's lives. So he made a picture. The family made it through. They made it through all this stuff, and the kids were sound because the picture that the parent, because he was smart enough to realize that we create pictures in life. And that's where, for one person, it's doom and gloom. For another person, it's, hey, this is not so bad. It's the picture that we attain in our lives. That's where the same tool is a tool we need to achieve the project that we're trying to manage here, which is seeking some of our goals and seeing things happen in our lives. So if we can visualize this and create that vision in a powerful, powerful. Number 6, the clearer you are about any goal you hope to achieve, the more motivated and inspired you will be to accomplish it. Okay, yeah, the clearer you can be. Your enthusiasm, desire, and creativity will soar. Add as much detail to your pictures as possible. Yeah, it's the clearer you can make this picture, the more you can put it all together. Your enthusiasm, your excitement, and everything you do can just soar. It just becomes huge. Because I remember Shirley and I, we've done this a couple times, but I remember one time we were building a brand new house. And just the idea of building a brand new house, wow. And we were driving all over the place, creating a picture. We were creating a picture of what we wanted. We wanted the front end to have a dormer, and certain light, windows here and there and stuff. In the kitchen, living room, all that stuff needed to be just like that. And I remember we created a picture in our mind what we wanted for a house. But our builder, he had a floor plan, but the drawing he had was not our picture. It didn't look like our picture. We've seen that picture, but it didn't look like our picture. So I went home and I took some construction thicker type paper and I cut all the sections of the house and I made it scaled it down in a small way. I scaled it down and I made exactly the house that we wanted, the roof style, everything. Because I remember the roof style he had was like this. We wanted something like this and stuff. But you try to talk to a builder and they don't see your picture. They don't see your picture until you can show them the picture. So what we actually did is we built the structure of the outside walls of the house and we built the roof the way we wanted it. And then we built the roof the way it was on his drawing. and I said, this is what you have designed for us and plan on building, but this is what we want. And then his eyes lit up. He says, oh yeah, I can do that. But he didn't see the picture until we could give him the picture. But the excitement of all that, we were excited because we made things perfectly clear. And that's where it's exciting in life. When you try to put your visions together, the clearer you can make it, the better the focus you can have on it, and the better and more excitement and enthusiasm you will have in trying to achieve it. Like trying to achieve different areas, like once I reach this goal, this is what life is going to be like. To be able to sit down in a period of time and say to yourself, I'm going to be able to do this. I'll be able to help this individual. This will be able to be used in this way. For Walt Disney, just think of all the people and families that are going to be able to come to my amusement park. and just be thrilled with what I'm trying to build here in Disneyland. All these, but as the clearer he made the picture, the easier it was for other people, the easier it was for him to do what he was trying to do. Understandable? Yeah, okay. Number 7. It says, by flooding your mind with a constant stream of success images, you'll displace old self-defeating doubt, fears, and insecurities. Yeah, you need to develop visual triggers. Yeah, constantly. Yeah, you need to try to put something together by constantly putting a stream of successes into your mind. And that's where, what I'm going to encourage you, this is going to be part of your homework here, but what I'm going to encourage you to do, I'm going to encourage you. There again, it's going to have to take emotions on your part, because it won't happen without the right emotions in you. You have to be desperately wanting to achieve, to do some of these things, because that's just the way it works. You know what I mean, Brian? It's just the way it works. But what you have to do, and what I'm going to talk a little bit about, is not only taking a mental picture of what you want, and putting this in your mind, and you can sit back and meditate and think about these things, which is good. And I encourage you to do that. But try to get a physical picture, finding an actual picture of what you want to achieve, and maybe putting that on a board someplace. Sometimes they talk about making it a goal map of what you need to achieve to reach your goal. Getting yourself an actual picture of what you want in life. So this is what's in front of you. Not only are you envisioning it in your mind, but you're also seeing it. Just like I'm staring at that paint. You know what I mean? When I stared at that paint, it was a picture inside my mind. My car, going back in the 70s, you know what I seen? You know what I seen with that car? I seen a freshly painted car. All shiny, all like new again. All the rust holes fixed, all the dents mudded in. I seen the car before it was done. So how was I motivated to work on this? Well, that's the vision I had. Because it took me probably about 4 to 6 months to do all this, to tear this all apart, because I was working as all stuff like that. But I did all that, but I stayed enthused with it. For one thing, I had my garage full of parts. So I had to get the thing put together and out of there so I could get my garage back. But another thing is I could see the finished product. Shirley and I did this a while back with a camper of ours. Tore the whole thing apart. We wanted to redo the interior of it. So in January I went out there and I tore all the cabinets out, tore all the doors off, tore everything apart. So the only way we were going to go camping is if we put it back, finished it and put it back together. But we had a vision of what we wanted. And there was an excitement in all of that. See, that's where you can actually make a goal map if you can. If your goal is such that you can put a picture, get a picture, I encourage you to do that, because that's powerful. And actually, in your life, you can scrapbook your future. Where do you want to be 20 years from now, whatever it might be? You can scrapbook your future. By taking pictures and it's your own personal thing, own personal journal, diary, whatever it might be, and just put pictures in it of something that you can look at. Something when you find your time, hour of power, whatever it is, you lay the book out. You know what I mean? You got all this stuff here. This is my hour of power. Okay, I am going to be praying. I'm going to be thinking. I'm going to be meditating. I am going to be visualizing. I am going to set a course for my life. This is what I'm about. I know right now I've been fixing up a house, because I retired a number of months back. And I thought when I retired, I'd be spending time putting programs together and working on that stuff. Well, you see, as life has its twist, it did not happen. I ended up going to a house I had to completely redo. And so I was just talking to a gentleman today. I says, I can't wait to get out of my work clothes and get into my program clothes where I'm putting programs together. Because right now it seems like it's a T-shirt and a baseball cap all the time and a paintbrush in my hand, because this is the stuff I'm doing. See, with the vision in front of you, with having it laid out in front of you every day, you know what you are about. There's days that this doesn't happen. There's circumstances that happen in your life that get you drifted because you got to do these things. But the next day, you're back at the vision again. So that 6 months don't go by and you say, oh yeah, I was going to do this. Because our goals, again, they are precious. Your dreams are precious. And to acquire these things, it takes a lot out of us. We have a lot of elements that have to come to play. And that's where the vision portion of it is an important part of achieving this. You have to see it. Because if you can't see it, it's hard to make it happen. You know, I mean, a lot of people try to walk blindly into things and say, hey, you know what, I think I want to do this and I think I want this to happen. But if you can't see it, it's hard day in and day out to stay on that trail because you can't see it. You have nothing to focus on. You know, because I know, as we mentioned I think last week, when you can get your focus down the line and start to see the end from the beginning, you know, all the disturbances and distractions on the side tend to stay to the side because your eyes are on the goal that's set before you. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm about. I've got my mission statement. We've talked about that. I've got my mission statement. I know what my mission is. This is what I want to achieve because I want to achieve success. But success, again, is being fulfilled. It's being fulfilled. See, when I'm 80, 90, or whatever we're going to be someday, you know, I want to have a fulfilled life. I want to be able to say, you know, I walked through the seasons of life. At this season, I was this and doing this, but I entered into this season. But you know what? I fulfilled all that was laid before me, all that was given to me, all that my dreams had. I've wrapped my arms around these things. I've allowed what my Creator has created inside me to be a tool that I can use, that I can develop myself, that I can grow myself. Because if I'm not growing, I get bored. When I get bored, you start to die. See, and that's the thing. If you don't continue to grow and expand yourself, you tend to die. And that's just the way it is. And a lot of times in life, people die a long time before they ever reach a graveyard because they quit growing. They quit expanding themselves. They quit reaching out for more goals and trying to find more fulfillment in life. We want to be whatever age we're going to be, but you know, I believe our last days we can have a goal. We can have a purpose in whatever we're going after. If we can make this a process, because we can manage the project. We really can. And I think our Creator has given each and every one of us a project. So I do have a few assignments here for our session 5 here. And number 1 is write down a visualization script that will paint a mental picture of what you will be completing by the time you reach the goal you have set for yourself. Please bring this to the next class. Okay, so this is scripting a picture. This is a picture that I see myself doing. I'm writing this stuff down. It's going to be your pathway. It's your mental picture of what you see yourself doing. You know, because you're creating this. Apples, red. Blue Volkswagens, I can picture that. Okay, so I can speak something, I can write something that will give me an instant picture of what I want to achieve. And number 2, take time every day to read your visualization script and imagine that your goal is already a reality. So you're seeing this, that it's already taken place. You know, my goal is to be painting pictures. This is just, I'm just saying this now, but to be painting pictures at Yellowstone or at the Grand Canyon. You know, okay, I see myself already doing this. I see myself with an easel out there and whatever it is. And my goal is by 2015, I will be there. I will have taken enough courses. I will have taken whatever, but my vision, my mental vision is me painting this picture over in Yellowstone. And it's amazing. I don't know about you guys, but this happens to me a lot. When I can get myself a good goal, a good compelling goal, it seems like I'm excited about life, about living. I really am. You know, I'm excited about tomorrow and everything that's involved in it because I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. You know, it's almost like, what? It's almost like hopping in a car and taking off and not knowing where you're going. You know, because you could end up anywhere. But when you set a goal, you know, I'm going to take this street, and this street, and this is where I'm going. This is my destiny. I'm going to Butch's Pizza. A little plug for Butch's Pizza. I'm going for Butch's Pizza. I know where I'm going. So when I hop in a car, I know where I'm going. But to hop in a car with no direction at all, you can end up anywhere. And that's where life for a lot of people is. They can end up anywhere. But what we're trying to do is trying to get a visualization of where we want to go. And number 3 is collect visual reminders, pictures, quotes, sketches, etc. and place them where you will effortlessly see them. If you can, please bring this to next class. Yeah, if you can, please bring these to next class. Okay, so what we're hoping to do, and this is up to you guys if you want to do this, depending on your goals and what you're going after. But you know, if you come up with a good picture, it's always a good example. And myself, I always like, you know, I don't mind telling people what I'm going after. and because it helps me. It helps me, and I want to create a picture, and I'm going to be working on this right along with you guys, creating my pictures and putting it together. Because I know of an individual, in fact, is our cameraman who's not here tonight. He's got pictures of what he wants in life, his goals in life. So he gets up and you go into his house and you're going to see his picture. This is his vision, because he's got this in front of him. It works well. He's constantly working towards his goal because he can't lose the picture. It's always there. It's always there. So with that, I want to thank all of you. This has been a tremendous session. Session 5 it was. And we talked about visualization, how important it is. And I want to thank you all for being with me. And I will see you again next week for session 6. Have yourselves a wonderful week.